Hello and welcome to the Three Not So Wise Men. I'm Jack.
I'm Krais.
And I'm Austin.
So last time we spun our wheel and we got build a DC cinematic universe.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like the Marvel cinematic universe, but DC.
Which in theory should have been better.
And also should have really been more of a thing than it really is now.
Yeah.
But we're here to fix that because we actually have that power. We totally are capable of doing that.
Or at least until James Gunn does it.
I was about to say, we have James Gunn on the phone right now. He's listening to every single word.
We have him muted because we don't want his feedback. He's just taking notes.
We don't want to change his Superman script that he's working on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hate saying it, but I would love it, but hate it if like one of our pitches just somehow ends up on the big screen. Like, wait a minute, what? Wait, the Flash is doing what? With who? Why's Green Lantern there?
Oh boy. Also, we need to shame Krais real quick because he's wearing a Marvel shirt as we're doing this.
Oh, I never even realized.
Yeah, I know you didn't realize.
I wore a blue t-shirt.
I'm
Gotta
wearing
rock that DC.
I'm wearing a Magic the Gathering t-shirt that's so faded you can't tell it's a Magic or any kind of t-shirt.
You're wearing a gray shirt with it is.
You can't. It's faded anyway. All right, yeah. So we're gonna do what we normally do. We're gonna take 30 minutes to write our pitch for a DC cinematic universe, whatever we want to do with it. Last time, with the Star Wars sequel trilogy, we all went very different directions, and I have a feeling that's gonna happen mostly in this one. And we'll see if anyone if we all could write the same thing or basic things. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, before we get started with that, we'll give our background with DC
Just about
in
to say.
particular, as well as because we're basing this off the Marvel Universe a little bit. Again, we grew up in that decade of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
With its start in 2008 to its peak all the way to 2019, which covered most of our K through 12 years.
Yeah, pretty much. So who wants to go first? I can for what we know of DC.
Oh yes,
Sure. You can go first since you
go
volunteered.
ahead.
I'll go next.
All right, cool. So for me, I honestly don't know much. No one really watched DC much growing up for me. I watched the Dark Knight series for Batman, and then when the Justice League Justice League ones came out recently, by recently I mean the last few years, I watched them. I don't think I've ever been in the theaters for a DC movie. It's never been the thing. I've never seen the characters presented in a way that I genuinely enjoyed. I like the characters, but not aside from a few of the Batmans. I haven't liked what I've seen on the big screen for DC. That's pretty much it. Basically, I'm saying I don't have much experience.
Gotcha. Well, I, on the other hand, do have a lot of experience with DC. Starting at a very young age, I got to watch some of those animated movies that they had, like Justice League Doom and the first animated movie of Death of Superman. Probably watched them at a too young of an age, but it was cool.
Don't we still have plans to like watch all of the recent animated movies?
Yeah, we gotta get Max again though.
Yeah.
But anyways, from there, I grew up watching a lot of the Batman movies, whether it was from the Tim Burton / Michael Keaton Batman movies, and I remember very much enjoying, because I was a young kid, enjoying Batman Forever with Jim Carrey as the Riddler.
Ah, yes.
And I don't like it as much now, but it's kind of fun to look back at for nostalgia purposes. As a kid, I did enjoy Batman and Robin. And just because I don't like it now, trust me. I was like, oh, what was this choice? But I remember having a lot of fun watching it as a kid.
So your favorite part was the bat suit, right?
No, it was the Bat credit card.
We forgot about that part.
But yeah,
Doesn't George Clooney avidly apologize to fans about that movie?
there's a clip from the Graham Norton show, and he's on it. He's like, the Graham Norton asked him, "I hear you apologize for Batman and Robin." I always apologize for Batman and
Yeah,
Robin.
I was thinking of that exact clip.
And then of course The Dark Knight. It's one of my top 10. No, it's in my top 5 favorite movies. I think
Yeah,
it's number
Yeah,
5.
you mentioned it.
In our episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Callback.
Callbacks. But yeah, and love that. With the DCEU, I watched all the movies, but I think I only saw both Wonder Woman films. One of them was really good. Leave you to figure out which one of them was good. The Suicide Squad. James Gunn's Suicide Squad movie, which I love. That one was really good.
Which one was that?
It was the one
James
with,
Gunn?
yeah, it was the one with Peacemaker and Bloodsport.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So the good one.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think I watched any of the other DCEU movies in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
I did end up watching them all. And it was just kind of all over the place tonally, which you could tell that there was a lot of struggles behind it. But like, I enjoyed Man of Steel. I like Batman versus Superman. I thought it was pretty good, though it is very fun to make fun of the. Why did you say that name?
Yeah, that was.
I watched the animated Justice League TV show and Justice League Unlimited. Those were really good series. Young Justice was also a very big part of, like, the first 2 seasons of Young Justice were a big part of my childhood.
That's the word.
Yes.
Yeah, and then
Had a childhood.
and then also, as corny as they are, I did enjoy the CW series of Arrow, The Flash, and Legends of Tomorrow.
Yes.
And then the most recent DC experience for me has been the Batman, which came out 2 years ago.
Yeah, with
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful film.
Yeah, I need to rewatch it.
I need to see it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
bro,
been on my list to show Krais for a while now.
Yeah. I've lived under a rock.
I showed him the Dark Knight trilogy like a couple months ago.
Yeah, we talked about that on the first episode.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of my background. Oh, and also I played a bunch of the video games, like the Batman Arkham series, which I mentioned Arkham City being my third favorite video game.
Yeah.
As well as playing the Injustice games.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, those have been a lot of fun.
There you go.
Great.
I've had the best experience with DC Comics. The Lego Batman games. I have played all 3 of them. They hold a special place in my heart. I remember playing the very first one, the one that has no voice acting in it, and just falling in love with all the characters. It was my first interactions with Killer Croc, Bane, Man-Bat, loving each and every single one.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I also, my grandmother, she had access to the Boomerang channel, and that was the only place that I could watch Justice League Unlimited. I would hang out with my grandma and we would watch Justice League Unlimited all the time. So that show also holds a special place in my heart. Yeah, I'm surprised how much DC stuff is in my life, because growing up I remember a lot more Marvel stuff.
Yeah, and that's part of the thing with the MCU taking off. It just seems like Marvel's been always more in the forefront.
Yeah.
But if you look back in the history, DC has more iconic characters.
Yeah, for sure.
And they should easily beat Marvel, but they just don't.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Aside from Spider-Man, all the most commonly known
top
superheroes are
you look it up
DC.
online, the top 3 superheroes are Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And that order usually changes between the 3.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's kind of crazy that sometimes a movie, the movie that starred Batman and Superman, didn't even cross $1 billion.
Yeah.
A lot of Spider-Man films are able to cross $1 billion.
Yeah.
Ooh, also, something I just remembered. The Batman movie with Jim Carrey as the Riddler. I had that on VHS growing up. So that was the only Batman or DC movie I've had for the longest
Well,
time.
I think that's another reason why I enjoyed watching those 2 more as a kid, because they were a lot more, kid-friendly. Mm-hmm. And if you know Tim Burton as a director, he likes the more dark and spooky stuff. Mm-hmm. And I remember not liking Batman Returns so much, despite it having Danny DeVito. His penguins creep the shit out of me.
I mean, yeah.
So
Oh my god.
Speaking of, I remember there's one Batman animated movie that holds a special place in my heart because it terrified me as a child. This might be an actual fever dream. I don't remember this being if this is an actual movie or not, but it was a movie where Batman had to fight Dracula.
Nope, that's a movie.
That's a movie. That's a
It's
real
like
one.
it's like a spinoff from the Batman TV series,
Yeah.
which I also watched, which was really good.
Yeah, like all of Gotham becomes vampires, and he has to like cure them, and he like has the Joker in a cell trying to cure him, and then he goes to fight Dracula, and he's having to like inject basically all of Gotham with the serum before he can finally kill Dracula. I think he kills Dracula. I don't remember.
Personally, I like the movie where Batman fights Shredder and eats pizza with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That is a fairly recent one, but okay. Cowabunga, dude.
When I saw that movie that it came out, oh my god, I really want to watch it, but it looks so good.
All right. Okay. Anything else we want to add before we get into this?
No, I think we've established we're nerds.
Yes, we are. With not aside from Austin, not a lot of information about these.
I think Krais has a fair amount.
Fair amount. Okay, so I don't. That's basically what I'm trying to get at.
You're a nerd? Why didn't you tell me?
I thought you knew, Krais.
So while they file for divorce. All right.
Okay.
All right, let's get to it. Okay, Austin, you ready with that timer?
Yeah.
All right, let me know. All right, you count us down into our 30 minutes of writing, and then we will, get started.
We'll talk to you all after our 30 minutes is up. And 3, 2, 1. Alrighty, time is up.
Oh god.
How we feeling?
Oh god.
It's not with I'm proud of what I did with the knowledge I have of this franchise, which is very little. So
Yeah.
take that as you will.
No, trying to plan out a cinematic universe.
Oh, it's just...
It's not easy to do.
Oh.
All right, you want to see who's gonna go first?
Yeah, let's figure this
please
out.
end it.
All right.
End my suffering.
All right, so Krais wants to go first.
No.
Let's see what we get.
I swear to God, if I'm first.
Krais,
Are you serious?
I got good news for you.
Okay.
You're not first.
Okay.
Jyck, you're first.
Okay. All right.
All right, and then following Jyck will be. Krais.
Okay, so we end with the guy who knows the most.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, this one will be best of last.
Hold on. He doesn't know the most. It's a tie.
Okay.
Okay, Krais.
No,
You don't seem
You're
seem as
right, Krais.
confident.
You're right. It's a tie. It's a tie.
I swear. If there's a character that I have that he doesn't know, I'm going to be so excited.
We'll find out.
We will see.
There's one character that I like I said earlier, I told Jyck this too. There's a character that I have a prediction is on your roster and your lineup,
We will see.
but they're not in mine, so I'm curious to see this.
Yeah.
But before we get there, Jyck, you ready?
As I'll ever be. Okay. So, how I did this was in 3 phases. I think we all did this. Am I
At least attempted to.
at least attempted to
I
do
know I
this.
tried to structure out 3 phases.
Yeah. This isn't, just like one phase. It's a whole cinematic universe. So we're talking about, like in Marvel, I think we're in what phase?
We're phase 5 now.
5? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and we have literally dozens of movies out. So when we're talking phases, we've got lots of movies to cover is basically what we have. So, each phase has, of course, it's like an arc. It's something building up to it, but with a bunch of movies. So, phase 1, we start off with a Batman movie, of course. This movie is to establish the kind of tone for the cinematic universe we're going to do, at least for this phase. This Batman, he's in his 30s. He's like finally really establishing himself. He has like finally gotten into the groove of being Bruce Wayne has gotten into the groove of being Batman, and this is just kind of this movie's really to help set up the universe that is being formed, the cinematic universe that's being formed. In this, since it is the opening, we're going in with a bang. It's him versus Joker. Basically in this cinematic universe, we're going to have, up until the first Justice League movie, we're going to only have Superman mentioned slightly a little bit more and more as it goes along. And I'll get to that in a bit. But in the background, it's just going to be Batman, and there's no other mention. I'm thinking, like, in the background, there's, like, someone holding a newspaper that has Superman on it. So the other heroes are in this world, mostly, but this movie isn't about that. Then we go on to Wonder Woman movie. Neither of these are origins, of these first two are origin stories. This one is to help establish the world that they're in. She'll go all over it, and like there'll be mentions of different superheroes and such going on. I don't know a lot of Wonder Woman villains at all. I barely remember
I had to look up a few.
Yeah, I didn't have time to look any of them up for what I wanted for the whole universe. If it was one phase, then I would have fleshed this out better. But I don't even remember.
That's not a good point, dog.
Yeah,
I mean, it could have been. It was just however you wanted to approach it. But
and that's
from the sounds of it, we all tried to do 3 phases.
Yeah. So we have Wonder Woman. This movie that really just fleshes out the world. Then we have our first origin story, which is the Flash, and in it, the Flash fights some generic villain, but things go badly, really badly, and we have Batman and Wonder Woman visit Barry Allen in his in the little fall before he rises to defeat the villain, and they basically sit him down and talk to him and give him a pep talk. And then Superman's mentioned even more. Then we go to Green Lantern. It is another origin story. And aside from a few like world mentions, like news broadcasts in the background, this is completely standalone. No other heroes interact with Green Lantern.
Which Green Lantern is this?
Yeah, there's like 7.
I know.
Hal Jordan, John Stewart, Guy Gardner.
I don't know. It's a Green. One of the. I don't know. I didn't have time to look into it.
Here, one second.
Think of the 2 generic ones.
Okay.
White Green Lantern, Black Green Lantern.
I think it comes down to who would play it best. The type of Green Lantern I want is a more serious.
You want a more serious one?
I want a more serious one. I want him to be down to. I want him to be like The Rock. All
right, John Stewart.
John Stewart.
Stewart?
Yeah.
You want John Stewart.
Okay. This Green Lantern's. Yeah, that's what he's more of a serious Green Lantern than any of the ones I've seen personally. Then we go into the Justice League. This is the movie I by far have the most flesh out because it's what brings the whole universe together. So Darkseid is already being introduced. He has this massive ship coming towards Earth, and it stops just past the moon, so it's visible in the sky but not easily. So there's an impending threat, but no one knows what's going on. Batman gathers the Flash and Wonder Woman, and then Flash and Wonder Woman, they plan, they realize a small ship from the big ship is coming to Earth. They go to this cliffside by the ocean that's where they expect the ship to land. They get there, and as they see the ship coming from a great distance, this green light comes soaring through at them, is coming down at them, and crashes in front of them, and we see the Green Lantern beat to a pulp, unconscious on the ground. And Wonder Woman, Batman, and the Flash are scared. Then we have one of Darkseid's minions. I chose Mantis from looking it up. He seems I was gonna go with Steppenwolf like they did in the more recent one, but he's more of a general that commands armies, and I wanted this to be like a standalone guy, so I chose Mantis. And basically, the 3 that are still conscious start fighting Mantis. Mantis is getting the upper hand. Then Aquaman appears from the ocean, and oh goodness, I lost my place. Aquaman appears, but Mantis leaves before Aquaman can join the fight, and he goes back to Darkseid. And then we cut to a shot of Cyborg watching through a camera drone. We basically see a silhouette of him. We don't really see who it is. Then each side plans setting up and building up towards this end. That's what's coming. Cyborg joins the Justice League. And then we get to a final fight. Mantis has put up a live broadcast all over the world, basically saying submit to Darkseid or you will perish. He comes down and the Justice League fights him. They're about to defeat Mantis when Darkseid himself shows up, and he just in like a minute just obliterates the Justice League. They're about to die, and then Superman finally shows up and stops Darkseid. And Darkseid's just kind of intrigued by this. Says he'll be back, and he leaves with Mantis in tow. Then we get a Superman movie and an Aquaman movie. Cyborg doesn't get a movie yet. Then we'll get another Batman movie, and then we'll have Justice League 2. Mantis comes back on his own to claim Earth for Darkseid, and then the Justice League, all of them, work together and kill Mantis. Very much upsetting Darkseid, and that ends Phase 1. Going into Phase 2, we start with the Superman movie.
You had Darkseid come in on Phase 1?
Yes, I did.
Honestly, that's not too surprising, though.
Yeah.
I have seen some storylines where they do that, but please.
Yeah,
continue.
no, I did. I don't know a lot of villains, but I actually liked the choice of Darkseid coming in Phase 1, personally.
Chris, we'll save thoughts for once Jack's pitch is done.
Yes.
I know, I'm sorry.
Hush.
Please continue. Please continue, Jack.
All right.
Lie down.
So Phase 2 opens with the Superman movie. It's Lex Luthor causing trouble, and Superman is out of his depth with how to fight Lex Luthor in this, because it's not just like a slugfest, just beating each other up. So he enlists Cyborg to help him out, and then another Wonder Woman one, and then a Batman one. This time he's fighting the Riddler. And in Phase 2, we're getting more like heroes helping each other out in the other movies. They're not just themselves. There are a few. So the next, after the Batman fighting the Riddler, we have Justice League 3. Lex Luthor has come out, and he gets a whole group of villains. Not necessarily, what's the official villain team? It's Doom.
The Doom Syndicate?
The Doom Syndicate.
Or something, yeah. Basically, it's not them, but basically, not necessarily. Lex Luthor gathers a bunch of villains that we've seen in the past, and one or two we haven't yet, to fight the Justice League, and it's just a big, full-on war between the two teams in different areas, and the final battle isn't them all together, it's them spread out. And then I'm thinking Lex Luthor versus Superman isn't going so well, and then we have, Batman show up to help beat him. For something like that. Then Cyborg finally gets a movie, it's just him in it. Then we introduce Shazam and Black Adam, and then second Aquaman movie, maybe some other superhero movie, some other movies with other heroes. I honestly don't know a lot of other DC heroes that would, be able to be in a main one besides, Teen Titans and stuff like that, which really wouldn't fit for this kind of thing. Fourth Justice League movie. This is Darkseid Returns, and this is the end of Phase 2. All these heroes that we've seen, and I imagine I plan on having just a bunch of new superheroes being introduced that I haven't mentioned. I didn't have time to look them up. They all come back to fight Darkseid, and this is kind of like what Infinity War and Endgame ended up being for Marvel. And they eventually defeat Darkseid. Batman is gravely wounded. It's kind of like what, instead of Tony Stark dying, it's just Batman was wounded. And it ends on a very bad note, but they did save the world. Go into Phase 3. We start with a Batman movie. This one is about him recovering, and it's a redemption arc for him, but it's not him falling from grace. It's him. He's been he should have died, and he's facing his own mortality. And Alfred basically has to dude, come on, you're Batman. Get to it type of thing. we'll introduce a bunch of new heroes, and have some more movies, another Wonder Man movie, another Aquaman, a few other things like that. Then we get to the Flash, and yes, I did a multiverse thing because there was a villain for Phase 3 that I really liked, and it had to be a multiverse thing. So we have Flash, a Flash movie. He discovers the multiverse, causes a few problems, and ends up talking to Perpetua. I think that's how it's pronounced. Basically, according to what I looked up, she's a DC character that basically created the multiverse.
Huh.
So Flash ends up having a conversation with her somehow. Like, he doesn't see her in person. He just like has like a conversation with her, and he pisses her off without meaning to. And Batman's just like, or Flash is just like, crap. So we have a sense of foreboding for the next bunch of movies. But after that Flash movie, we have Justice League 5. This is Doomsday has come to fight. And even though they've already beat Darkseid, not as many of the Justice League feels that they really need to help fight Doomsday. So it's a lot smaller. It's basically just Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, Cyborg, and Aquaman. Just the core members fighting as opposed to all these new heroes we've introduced. It's just them fighting Doomsday, and they barely make it through. And Doomsday has like destroyed cities, like caused a lot of damage. Hundreds, if not thousands, of people have died. And in the end, everyone blames Superman because Doomsday's from Krypton, and Superman blames himself. He's like he was like an experiment on Krypton or something, from what I looked up. I don't know.
I gotta relook at it. But
yeah, that's just something I saw. Right. I could be getting it mixed up, but basically, something happens, and even if he's not, Superman does something in the fight with Doomsday, and a lot of people died, and everyone, including Superman himself, blames him for what happened. They ended up defeating Doomsday. We jump into a Superman movie. This one is a real redemption movie. Superman has to come to terms with what he's done, and we get to see a darker side of Superman in this movie, and then at the end of it, he goes back to his old self. Then we're just gonna have, and this was when we were really running out of time. This is we throw in as many this is before the last movie. Throw in as many new characters as we want, type of thing. Flesh out anything else before we get to the final Justice League 6. This is the end of Phase 3. Perpetua has sent minions and is like monitoring what's happening. It is apocalypse level threats, and the entire world is under siege for months. Like, people are like living in bunkers. The world has been taken over, type of thing. And the Justice League has to basically hide in the shadows for a couple months before they can finally form a plan and defeat whoever Perpetua sent. And in that, Superman has to sacrifice himself, whether he dies, air quotes there, because that's what they did with that's what they've done in the past, or he's just like trapped in another universe. And then Perpetua is after Superman sacrifices himself. Perpetua is satisfied and moves on. Perpetua doesn't get defeated. She just kind of gives up. She's too powerful to be defeated, from what I looked up. And basically in Phase 3, we also explore the multiverse more after the Superman movie, after the Doomsday Justice League. And we get to see alternate versions. We get we get like a reverse Flash and all these kind of stuff. And yeah, it ends with Superman having to sacrifice himself. I kind of like him like being trapped in another universe, and Perpetua is like kind of pleased with like the sacrifice and just moves on. And the world is left in a state of what now? And that's what it said. And then, there can be a Phase 4 later, but this is what I have flushed out-ish. All right. Yep, that's it.
Okay. Whew. Grace, I know you had a lot. That's all. I'll let you go first.
A lot to digest, dude.
Yeah, I don't even know. I get ambitious with this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I know, and I mean that's fine. That's that's
the fun of it.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know a lot, so a lot of it was making up as opposed to having solid stuff to go off of.
But I like certain things that you did.
Yeah.
First of all, just reiterating, having Darkseid in Phase 1. I was going to assume that everyone was going to use him as like the final bad. Spoiler for mine. But that's just because he's like he is the DC Thanos basically.
Yeah, he was the inspiration for Thanos.
Yeah,
too.
exactly. So,
I actually think I read somewhere it was actually a different. It was while he was very similar. I think there was a different DC villain that inspired Thanos.
Yeah,
that's something I don't know what villain it was, but that's what I heard. That's what I saw somewhere. It was online, so who knows if it's true. But anyway, yes.
Yeah. But I thought that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And also the use of Doomsday as like a final towards the end boss. Really cool. You don't see a lot of people using Doomsday, and I did look it up, and it's why I'm bringing him up.
It is. Darkseid was made first. Thanos appeared 3 years later.
Yeah. I know. I think there was just someone said something about Thanos was actually while he should have been based off while people thought he was based off Darkseid, there was another DC villain. I don't know. That's just something I saw. I didn't look into it third.
I did look it up because I was curious myself. Doomsday was actually was born in prehistoric times on Krypton.
Yeah.
So he's basically like a Kryptonian caveman.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I read. And then he was like trapped in Earth for a while.
Yeah,
and
there's some more information here that I didn't go into, but like it. Oh dear Lord. Also, giving Cyborg his own standalone movie, I think that's a really cool idea that not a lot of people do because out of like the core members that we see, Cyborg is kind of
just there.
Yeah. Like you have the big three: Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and then you have like fan favorites like the Green Lantern or the Flash, and then you got one that's a classic Aquaman, and then you just and stuff like Martian Manhunter, which I don't think you said.
No, I didn't know enough about him, and he wasn't in the list of the Justice League that I looked up.
Fair enough.
I knew he was a thing. I just didn't know anything about him, so I didn't want to put him in there.
Yeah.
Fun fact: there was a Cyborg movie originally planned for the original DCEU.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Cool.
But there was a huge, DCEU was a huge mess.
Yeah. I wanted. That's another thing is I wanted to see a Cyborg movie. It obviously wouldn't be a big one, but I wanted to see it just be one Cyborg standalone movie. But I did want to see one.
Yeah. But overall, I liked it. I wouldn't mind going, not next episode, but like in a future episode, going over everything that we have and just expanding upon it.
Like a looking back type of thing.
Yeah, looking back, just to kind of give us more time, because I like a lot of the stuff that I have, and I like a lot of stuff what you have, but I would like to see more. But that's me.
Going on to my thoughts, I think it's really good, especially since you say that you don't know a whole lot.
Nope.
A lot of it is pretty I thought your storytelling on it was really good.
Yeah.
One thing I do kind of question is not doing a Superman movie beforehand. It's cool that you got this little teaser of him being played throughout the films, but Superman is such a big and iconic character and a very important role since he's constantly referred to as part of the Trinity of DC, which includes Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. And I like that you have these little Easter eggs or little nods towards him. But him just kind of just showing up towards the end of Justice League doesn't necessarily sound like it fits the character.
Yeah.
It won't be satisfying for that character.
So I should have expanded upon that a little more. So basically what I wanted to do, starting with that very first movie, the Batman movie, Superman has been saving the world already. He's already doing his thing. And it isn't until Justice League that he really has anything else on his radar. Because I think some of the things he's going to be mentioned is him defeating General Zod and a few other things like that. He's off saving the world by himself. And it isn't until the Justice League movie when Darkseid is there on Earth that he realizes that they need his help. And he's doing his thing. It's just we don't see him doing that right in front of us. Is kind of what I'm getting at.
And again, I think that's just something that fans would want to see before Superman. Especially, like, you do give Superman a movie right after Justice League.
Yeah, that kind of
makes up for it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, people really like Superman.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then you said, because you don't know a whole lot, I think this worked in your favor.
Mm-hmm.
You pulled out these villains and other characters that, like, Krais and I kind of looked at each other like, I've never heard of that one.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that would bring something unique to the table when as a casual fan watching these, and you're like, oh, that's a new one. I've never even heard of them before. And yeah, I thought that was really neat. Mm-hmm. My other thing is, though, at the very end of it, you said, hey, let's just start throwing in all these heroes and villains. And, like, introduce a bunch of new ones. I don't think that should be your final thing, especially towards the end of Phase 3.
Yeah.
And because Phase 3, you kind of want to wrap that trilogy of sagas up. Mm-hmm. Or trilogy of phases up. Overall, I thought it was very well detailed, and I enjoyed it. Yeah. I also found it pretty interesting that he did, like Chris said earlier, Darkseid being brought up in the first movie. Mm-hmm. I have seen some interpretations when that does happen, mm-hmm. and it's interesting. Mm-hmm. But I also found it really interesting that he brought him back again for the second one. Yeah. So what I wanted was he's the main, like, he is still like the Thanos level threat into phase until the end of Phase 2, and then Phase 3 we move on to. Basically, it's the Thanos level threat. We just reach it a lot quicker in this cinematic universe, and then we move on to the multiverse villain, which is kind of what I believe Marvel is getting to, because we've seen more multiversal stuff, mm-hmm. and we're gonna get a multiverse villain at some point. Whether it be Kang or whatever, I don't think it's gonna be Kang. I think he's gonna be something that leads to something even bigger. Mm-hmm. So basically, I just kind of rushed all that into Phase 1 and 2, and then Phase 3 is this multiverse villain. Cool. But yeah, Darkseid appears for like a minute, for like 2 minutes in the first Justice League movie, and then we don't see him again until the end of Phase 2. But he's mentioned throughout. Cool. He's like something in the back of the audience's eyes. So like, when's he gonna show up? Type of thing. It's kind of like what Marvel did with Thanos, with showing him in end credits and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. All right. But yeah. Grace, you want to take it away?
Not really.
You got to.
We can skip him.
All right. Thank you.
No, I want to know if this one character.
I know.
I'm so curious.
All right,
because
we've got a character.
We're both curious.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Can I say something upon this? Is it a bet or like?
It's not a bet. It's just like
we just want to know if you did it.
Okay.
It's a personal bet with myself.
Okay.
That Jack knows about.
Yeah.
Okay. I tried to throw as many DC characters that I could think of into this cinematic universe. All right. Now, I didn't do all of them, but because I wanted them to make sense through their introduction, and I wanted them to get somewhat of a, what is this person's backstory? So, to start off Phase 1, the first movie is Green Arrow and Black Canary.
Ooh, I'm sold already.
Right off the bat. So the idea is Green Arrow and Black Canary. Can you see where
I see your inspiration for Black Canary?
Yes, exactly. Anyway,
Green Arrow and Black Widow. That'd be an awesome team up, though. Anyway,
Black Canary's cooler.
Yeah.
But still.
So the idea is like they are vigilantes, which is. We don't. I don't have anything about going into their backstories, but it's kind of just mentioned. I feel like like it's more focused on plot than like origins for these two at the beginning. Mm-hmm. The whole idea behind this the first movie was them teaming up for the first time and working together to stop a crime syndicate that's forming between multiple cities, and it is being run by Captain Boomerang.
Oh,
but that's the first movie. The second movie would be the first Batman movie.
There we go.
And this is actually a few years into Batman's career. Because at the beginning of the movie, he's dealing with the loss of Jason Todd.
Ooh.
Remind me who that is?
Red Hood.
The second Robin.
Oh, okay. The second Robin. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So
For a little background information and slight spoilers for this, but like the second Robin, Jason Todd, was voted on by comic readers back in the early days of his appearances on how they would kill him, and they voted by Joker killing him with a crowbar.
They hated that guy that much.
Oh yeah, and then he blew up afterwards. And then later down the line, in several comic lines, he becomes the Red Hood.
Yeah.
Just
Because the first one becomes
Nightwing.
Okay.
It's gotcha.
Yeah. But the beginning at the beginning of the movie, he's dealing since it's Batman. I felt like we didn't need to go into the whole like Bruce Wayne lost his parents.
Yeah, we don't need to see that again.
Yeah. I didn't really do it much with the some of the bigger characters, but some of the others we do kind of get more information about them.
Mm-hmm.
But Batman is currently dealing with the loss of Jason Todd, and he is currently training his new Robin, and this is what's bringing up all these old memories. All of a sudden, the Penguin is pulling some moves in Gotham, and a certain Red Hood is coming around and screwing things up. So the Bat family is basically fighting two wars at the same time: Penguin on one end and Red Hood on the other. And yeah, that's the second movie. I wouldn't really detail.
Wait, so Jason Todd isn't dead and he's the
Okay,
Red Hood?
so
Can you expand on that, please?
Yeah, sure. So in the comics, Jason Todd is his second Robin, like I said, mentioned. But he dies because Joker
And then blows him up, like we said.
Yeah.
But to go from there, there's this thing called a Lazarus Pit, and it's run by another Batman villain named Ra's al Ghul.
Ra's al Ghul, yeah.
It goes back and forth between his pronunciation.
Oh, okay.
But Ra's al Ghul.
Rachel.
Ghul.
Whichever. Say whatever. I just want to make sure we're talking about
Ra's uses it and brings Jason Todd back to life.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the.
But because of the effects of the Lazarus Pit, it doesn't bring you back fully, and it can make people crazier.
It's basically it's basically like the Fountain of Youth, but it has really negative effects on the dead.
We've seen that it's been used in some DC medium that I've seen.
They use it in the Arkham trilogy.
I don't know. I've seen it before, and I don't remember I don't remember what it was, but I know what you're talking about now. Yes.
Yeah. So, not only does this the second Batman movie like establishes like where we are in Batman's timeline, but it also establishes that the world is only used to like vigilantes like Green Arrow, Black Canary.
Yeah.
But that all changes in the third movie, The Flash, where we get a introduction to his powers, which I felt like even though Flash is one of the popular ones, he's not. You kind of need it to go over his origins, but in the Flash movie, I have Gorilla Grodd as the big bad, and he's using others' metas to like take over the city, and Flash is learning to use his powers while trying to stop Gorilla Grodd.
Nice.
The next one, coming out of left field, is Dr. Fate.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good choice.
Can you expand on? I've heard of Gorilla Grodd, but I've never heard of this guy. Oh wait, he was in Black Adam.
Yeah, he was in Black Adam.
Yeah, okay.
Played by Pierce Brosnan.
Basically, Dr. Fate is kind of like the embodiment of the order of order.
Of fate.
Yeah.
Order.
They're basically two different entities, one of order and one of discourse. I can't remember the names exactly, but Dr. Fate is kind of like he is the champion of order. Okay, and this is also another origin story for Dr. Fate because I've decided to basically restructure the original team. I won't get super into it right now, but Dr. Fate is going to be one of the core members.
Okay.
And this is kind of his origin story, so the audience can like learn about his powers and what he can do. And the villain for his Dr. Fate's movie is Gray Man, which is another is a past version of basically Dr. Fate's role as an embodiment of the Order.
You say Gray Man?
Gray Man,
Okay.
yeah.
Think of him similar to Doctor Strange. He's a
Okay.
magic user.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lords of Order, that's it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so how I have it is that Gray Man is kind of like he's retiring soon, and so the Lords of Order are putting him in charge, and Gray Man doesn't like that, so stabby stabby.
Stabby.
But yeah, so and that's just kind of Dr. Fate learning to use his powers and learning that from the Lords of Order and Chaos that the shit is about to hit the fan real quick. Next is the Wonder Woman movie, which I can't pronounce her name, but it's I think Circe, Circe.
Cersei.
Yeah.
Circe, yeah.
Who wants to? How I have it here, how I have it in like my head canon, is they grew up together, and Circe wanted to like take over the world of men, and it starts using her magic for evil, and it's a whole battle between Wonder Woman and Circe about whether to stay on the island or to take over the mainland. And that leads Wonder Woman to leave the Amazonians. And then finally, we have the Superman movie. Okay? Where, for the longest time, Clark Kent has been a mild-mannered reporter at the Daily... not the Daily Bugle.
Daily Planet.
The Daily Planet, thank you. I couldn't think of the name. And because of the recent the recent rise of metahumans from the Flash movie and Dr. Fate and Wonder Woman like coming out of the woodworks, Superman is like he is slowly being dragged out of his comfy life as Clark Kent when a certain purple monster is starting roaming the cities of. God damn it! What's the name of the city that Superman? Metropolis.
I know that.
I couldn't think of the name. Anyways.
I can hold that over you. You know, you're listing dozens of characters I've never heard of before, and I can hold that over you.
Okay. Anyways.
That's all I got.
So
dude.
how I have what I have Parasite for? I have Parasite.
It's Parasite.
Parasite's the purple guy.
Okay.
Basically, Parasite is can just steal the powers of other characters.
Think like Rogue from X-Men.
Okay.
Yeah. Parasite is actually an invention of LexCorp. And it kind of sets up Lex as one of the main villains for the first Justice League movie, which I'll have to get into. I guess now, because I have nothing else to talk about for the Superman movie.
Yeah.
But basically, it's like Superman finally like coming to terms with him being coming to terms to being a hero instead of being just a normal reporter.
Yeah.
And that gets into Justice League, the Justice League movie, where the Doom Syndicate comes into play. Lex, still upset at the defeat of Superman, hires Joker to help him out, and Lex to deal with Batman. And they start having ideas to have a bunch of other villains who are upset with vigilantes to kind of help them out with dealing with some of the supers. So yeah, in the movie I have my final roster for the main Justice League movie is Batman, Superman, Flash, Wonder Woman, Dr. Fate, Green Arrow, Black Canary, and Martian Manhunter is introduced halfway through the movie. Well, not halfway, but he's introduced in the movie. Also, nothing, just little cherry on top. I'm very proud of this. Joker kills the Kents.
No way!
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay, you might have cooked here.
You really drew the audience in after that. That'll just shoot them all away.
And guess
one or
what?
the other.
That is the beginning of the movie. Like,
oh yeah, that's good.
Please continue. I need more.
Austin's literally on the edge of his seat. He's been standing up. He's been giving me faces.
Oh, I
He is
stood up
so
and I
hyped.
didn't stretch my legs, but now I'm
He
excited.
is so hyped about this universe of Krais' writing.
oh, okay. So that's where it ends. No, I'm kidding. I chose the roster that I have because I felt like I wanted to talk about earlier. I just felt like the normal roster is a little weird because you have Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman. You need those three. Gotta have Flash. He's a fan favorite. Aquaman, I didn't see a reason to have him yet because like there's no water-based villains yet.
Yeah. He's more of a niche.
And I'll be completely honest. I like Cyborg more for the Teen Titans than Justice League.
Oh, I agree.
It's
just that's
Yeah.
Also, I added Dr. Fate for the main reason of I wanted to show that more of a magical side to the DCU. So yeah. All right, Phase 2. It opens up with the Green Lantern movie.
Okay.
Okay.
This is our cosmic kickoff.
Yeah. So it's basically the I don't have names, but I had like a few of the Green Lanterns. Like some of them have already been like working for the Corps already. Hal Jordan, Guy Gardner, John Stewart. Yeah. So they have been working for the Green Lanterns, and it's tamer than the first Justice League movie, but it's just the introduction to not only the Green Lanterns but the other Lantern Corps, the entire spectrum, except for Yellow.
Okay.
Sinestro's
Yellow's the bad one, right?
yes. Okay, so. For listeners and Jack.
Quick rundown.
Okay, so you have the Green Lanterns,
Yep.
who have their whole emotion spectrum is willpower. They use will to make their conjurations. The other Lantern Corps use similar emotions to make their conjurations. There's Yellow, which is started by Sinestro, who was originally a Green Lantern. His whole core is based on fear. And then there's other minor ones that you don't get to see much. There's a blue one that's which his whole thing is hope, and which I think the dumbest thing about them is they're only strong when a Green Lantern is there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just an actual rule about Blue Lanterns. Like,
That's interesting.
There's also Indigo, which is passion. Pink, which is love, and there's
Red.
also
Red.
yeah.
Oh, it's like there's got to be a red one.
There's orange, which is greed, and the main villains for this movie, the Red Lantern Corps, rage.
Ooh, okay.
So yeah, Atrocitus.
I was gonna ask if it was Atrocitus.
It's Atrocitus.
Are you gonna throw Dexter in there with him?
Of course. Dexter is a blue cat. That is part of the Red Lantern Corps. Look up his backstory. It's really tragic.
Or just play Injustice 2. They're in that one.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so it's just basically the introduction of like the cores because they come back later. But yeah, and the Hal and Jordan and Guy all hear about like what's going on with Earth, and so some of them start dealing with that. Superman 2 is next. That's the one. That's like the only sequel that I have fleshed out of the others. I want there to be other like Batmans and Flashes and Wonder Womans, but Superman 2 was the only one that I knew was going to be important. So Superman 2 is going against Metallo. And it's also the introduction of Supergirl and Superboy.
Ooh.
Okay. I know Supergirl and Superboy. Metallo. Quick rundown.
Basically a cyborg powered by kryptonite.
Gotcha.
But the important thing to take away from the Superman 2 movie is it's introduces Supergirl and Superboy. Lex has like cloned Superman to make Superboy, and Supergirl, like her pod shows up and he's helping her with her powers.
They're cousins, right?
Yeah, they're cousins. She was stuck in a black hole for years, and that's why she alive.
Came back later.
Yeah. Anyways, the next movie though is Doom Patrol.
Okay.
This one actually takes place earlier. And it's Doom Patrol versus the Brotherhood, led by a character called Mr. Nobody. Mr. Nobody, the Brotherhood is working on using kids with supernatural abilities to, like, take over, just do evil things. And it's also the introduction of Beast Boy. He's just a baby at the time. And then at the end of the movie, we hear it's flash forward to the present. Everyone's hearing about what's going down with the Doom Syndicate.
What's Mr. Nobody?
He was one of the villains that I don't know much about.
Okay.
But I was basically looking at like Doom Patrol villains.
Okay.
But he's basically like this shadow guy.
Cool.
That runs the Brotherhood of Data. I think that's how you say it.
Cool.
Which is, yeah. Anyways, so, yeah. They work to, the Doom Patrol, they were the only superhero team before, and they, because of what's going on with the Doom Syndicate, they're, like, at the end of the movie, they're like, okay, we gotta come back. There's problems are arising. And that brings us to the Teen Titans movie. Okay, and this is the formation of the Teen Titans, which are important for. And I just want to point out my entire second page is a little lacking compared to
the first page.
There's
like maybe an eighth of what was written. Like
I wasn't able to finish all.
That's
of my
fine.
thoughts.
You got the outline.
Yeah, that's all you need.
But the Teen Titans are starting to be formed because, the Robins are like all the Teen Titans are coming into play. Starfire, Raven, Beast Boy, Cyborg, our new Robin.
The third one.
Yeah, the third one
in this one. Okay.
And there's also a few others in here. Blue Beetle, Firestorm, and he's not part of the team, but he's kind of important to the group. Captain Atom.
Okay.
Captain Atom is basically he's like he was I think he was an Air Force officer.
He's a former soldier.
He's a former soldier who gets like super radiated and basically has the power of flight and like radiation powers.
Sounds a lot like or Captain Marvel's.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Origin. That's just from what you said. That's basically Captain Marvel's.
Yeah, except this guy came first.
Yeah,
yeah,
I know.
But he's not part of the group. But he is kind of like the general, like Nightwing. I wanted Nightwing to introduce him, but I also like the idea of Batman. Just like, okay, so we can't just the Justice League being like, okay, we can't always be here.
So Captain Atom's the babysitter.
Yeah, Captain Atom's the babysitter, and he's going to train you guys so that you can eventually join us.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the forming of the Teen Titans, and then the final movie for Phase 2, Shazam versus Black Adam.
There we go.
I don't have anything for the Shazam movie, but it's just basically like the introduction of him and the Black Adam, and just getting a little bit more of the magic stuff in.
Yeah.
And then it's Justice League 2, with the villains being the Anti-Monitor and Doomsday.
Okay, I clearly know Doomsday. I saw Anti-Monitor in like lists of villains. Can you give me another quick rundown?
Anti-Monitor is one of those that I don't know much about.
He's essentially just the destroyer of realities.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Oh, just that.
How I have him in this is he's just a little bit more on a smaller scale. More of a planet destroyer.
So more like Galactus then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anyone else to fit that role. So I just put through the Anti-Monitor in there just to, for the time being. But I like the idea of him like wanting to destroy the planet, and he makes Doomsday like on the spot to deal with the Justice League. So yeah, he's I don't have much for that. And then phase 3 was when we had like 1 minute left. Okay, so I was like, okay, I have to get all my thoughts into the paper. I need to continue. Anyways, composed.
That explains all the groans and moans after the time we're
So phase 3 opens up with the Question movie.
Ooh, the question. That's a deep cut.
Yeah. The Question is basically like the most conspiracy. Okay.
He's a conspiracy theorist.
Thank you. I can't speak. But basically, he starts like putting puzzle pieces together, like the law, like the laws of order and chaos are like just are like just ringing alarms, and he's working with other superheroes to like figure out what's going on.
This is the opening of phase 3, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And unfortunately, there's a big gap between the beginning of phase 3 to the end of phase 3. But I will tell you what I have in mind for phase 3. I have Booster Gold.
Okay.
The introduction of Aquaman. The Atom. Red Tornado, and Plastic Man. All starting.
There it is.
There it is.
That's the one I was thinking about.
I knew it!
I was like, he's got to throw Plastic Man in there. There's no way he doesn't throw Plastic Man in there.
I love Plastic Man.
Yeah.
I wanted him in the beginning, like with Batman and Superman. And
I thought you would put him in somewhere in phase 2. That's where I thought you'd put him.
You also didn't introduce Aquaman until phase 3, so.
I'll be completely honest. I forgot Plastic Man existed until I was like 30 seconds left on the clock. I was like, I can't. Shit.
That's who it was.
But basically, it's going to be the there's going to be a few other like standalone movies with like Batman 3 or Superman 3, and then just the introduction of certain other characters that are starting to help form the Justice League. Booster Gold, Aquaman, Red Tornado, they all start joining in to join the fight. And how I have the third movie ending, and I'll try to make this quick, is it's Darkseid and Black Hand.
Interesting.
So I when we were talking about Lantern Corps, I failed to mention two: the Corps of Life and the Corps of Death. Black Hand is like the leader of the Black Lanterns. And
Corps of Death, I assume.
Yes.
He's essentially going to make it a zombie movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And so that's when Darkseid, who has been teased throughout like phase 3 finally, and with as well as Black Hand, have like finally had it with hearing about all these Justice League members messing with just the cosmos in general, and so they work together to put a stop to them, and basically reviving all the other villains that were from previous movies. Do you see why I wanted to continue this?
Yes.
Yep.
Jackie, you want to go first?
Yeah, so first off, I kind of like the impression I don't know if this is what you were going for, but the impression I got from your start of the phase 1 was it's just like kind of like a world of vigilantes, and there's no real heroes, there's no real symbols, and then finally there's a real need for them, and then it grows into that. If that was that what you were going for, basically?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay, I really liked that idea. It's like a world getting worse and then we need like like superheroes. We need a Superman. But then I also wanted to point out you didn't introduce Superman right off. You didn't introduce him. Super quickly, like Austin was giving me a hard time for. I mean, you introduced him before the Justice League movie, but still.
In all fairness, I still was gonna give him like if Superman's on the first 3.
Yeah.
And that's just my opinion. I feel like Superman, because he's like that.
Yeah.
The face figure of the Justice League Justice League.
Justice Leaguer.
Yeah.
He kind of needs to be one of the first three to be introduced.
I just, for mine, it was just I kind of wanted it hinted so people were like waiting for him to show up is what I was getting at.
Mm-hmm.
But sorry. Yeah. So I liked that it's kind of like these heroes are really needing to become the heroes they need to be.
Yeah.
The heroes we know. I say we know, even though I had to ask, I think, 6 times for like a quick rundown. Yeah, I thought that was awesome. I like how you brought in a bunch of different villains and heroes that I've never heard of. I do wish you had more time to flesh this out. And I like how you focused more on the story of the cinematic universe as opposed to each movie. You didn't go super in depth on a lot of movies, whereas I had one, like the first Justice League movie I had planned out, I had the whole plot planned out pretty quick, but you just kind of got at like what we need from this. And I like that you brought in stuff outside the Justice League, like Teen Titans and that sort of thing, and Doom Patrol as well. And you just like had a whole actual universe instead of me just having like a Justice League phase 1, 2, and 3. I really like that.
Thank you.
That's all I got. I just wish I knew more about. I'm listening to. Last thing is listening to this. Makes me wish we were doing something I had more knowledge of, or if I just had more knowledge of this topic.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I would have had a lot more. You clearly had fun with this, and I'm envious of that. Is basically where I'm at.
Fair enough.
All right.
Oh, Jack took quite a bit of what I had to say because you did a really good job of building your world out. I really do appreciate you focusing more on the overarching story than the individual stories, especially for the cinematic universe side. I really don't have a whole lot of complaints, which I know that's kind of shocking coming from me.
Yeah, it is.
Because I like to give constructive criticism, but yeah, I really like for the first Superman movie, the villain being Parasite.
Yeah.
Like that one, I completely forgot about that because I was trying to figure out who I wanted for mine, and I just didn't want to do Metallo.
Yeah.
So
just he's overused, and he was the only other one I could think of. So
yeah, no, that was a good choice. I really like for Batman. You're starting off with the Under the Red Hood storyline.
yeah,
That's a fun storyline
I'm
right
so
there.
happy about that too.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I was like, this is the hook. This is what's gonna get them interested.
Also, very bold move for the first Justice League movie, having Joker kill Superman's parents. That could be very interesting. I kind of do wish you did go in depth more on that.
Yeah.
Just because I would be
What
very
happens at
curious
the
to
end
see.
of that movie? How does that wrap up?
Because especially in the last 10 years,
I mean,
last 15 years even, there's been a huge trend of making Superman evil.
Yeah.
And one of the ways to do that is to kill his family.
See, I didn't write it down, but I did think about it, why I wanted to do it. Do you want me to go?
Yeah,
Yeah,
please.
quick.
What I wanted, since Superman was introduced so late in the game, not only into the movies, but also him becoming Superman.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted Joker, the whole Joker plot being oh, okay, so he can't just be a happy-go-lucky all the time, but because there are consequences to him doing the right thing. And that's kind of what I wanted. It was because at the end of his movie, it's okay, I can do this. This is easy. I'm fucking Superman.
Yeah.
And then it's the wake up call that he needed to realize, oh, I'm playing with people's lives by putting on this cape, but I still want to do it, and I want to honor my parents by doing this.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. What happens at the end of the movie? Do you have an idea for that? Joker murdered Superman's parents. What are the consequences to those actions?
Well, I like the idea of him coming close, but thinking about his parents and remembering what they taught him to be to let it go.
Close to killing Joker? Is that what
It would be the reason why I chose his parents instead of Lois Lane
Yeah.
is because we've seen what happens when Joker kills Lois Lane. but we've never seen what happens when when the Joker kills his parents.
That's when Joker kills Lois Lane.
Injustice. The Injustice games happen.
Yeah.
Superman becomes a dictator, kills a lot of heroes, including Shazam.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So we basically see him go on that spectrum, but I like the idea of like Joker almost getting him to go over the edge, but him like getting to the edge and realizing what he's about to do, and just how far he's going to fall if he does it. And I like it like because Superman is the face of the Justice League, but this is also just a preparation for him to become the leader that he will be for the Justice League at the end of Phase 3 when they're fighting against Darkseid and Black Hand.
Yeah. Cool. I kind of want Batman to be the one to talk Superman out of killing the Joker.
Yeah, really put the world's finest together.
Yeah.
Also, I like your addition of Dr. Fate to introduce the magic early into the universe.
Thank you.
I really do like that. And I think another reason why I really do like yours, because there's some overlap between our two scripts.
Oh, really?
It's like specific characters going up against others or certain introductions.
I figured there'd be a lot of that.
Yeah, and it's like, it's cool to see where our similarities are, but also where our differences.
Yeah.
And like going back to Dr. Fate, you bring magic up in Phase 1. I don't bring magic until Phase 3.
Yeah.
See, like that's my problem with a lot of like DC universes. Like it feels like magic is always just forgotten. It's just there's aliens.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Magic's over there in the corner, and it's kind of cool. But aliens, guys.
Yeah. All right. Anything else for Krais?
No, I really liked it. It was good.
All right. Austin, wrap us up.
Alrighty. So, to start my cinematic universe, I'm going to go on a little tangent. A cinematic universe means it's movies. You go see it in the cinemas. No TV streaming series. None of that on my universe.
TV shows?
No TV shows. No video games.
TV shows?
No video games. No comic books. No nothing tie-in. Just movies.
Okay.
All right.
There's my cinematic universe.
Yeah.
Rant. Going into the actual DC stuff, I took a lot of inspiration from the animated universe from the last 10 years, or from the last decade, and as well as a little bit of inspirations from Zack Snyder's Justice League ideas. And I kind of just blended it together while also doing some very popular storylines as well. So, kicking off Phase 1 and the start of the universe, I'm starting with Superman. And this is where I agree. That's where I agree with James Gunn as well. You better start with the face of the whole brand. Start with Superman. It's going to be an origin story. We're going to see Krypton go boom. We're going to see him getting raised in Kansas, and then the main villain of the story is going to be Lex Luthor.
Of course.
And the reason I want Lex Luthor is because I want him to be to continuously pop up throughout all 3 phases.
Oh, okay.
And I don't have a whole lot, but we're going to see him get his job at the Daily Planet. We're going to see him start his career as Superman, and then final fight with Lex Luthor.
True origin story.
Yeah. And then once movie's over, post-credit scene, Man in the Shadows comes up to Lex Luthor in prison and asks him if he would like to get out of there, and he's putting together a team. Next movie.
You Nick Fury. You Lex Luthor.
I did, yeah. But it's coming from the villain side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next movie. Batman.
Yeah, saw that coming.
And this one, Batman will be... in this universe, Batman is 10 years into his career. So he already has Dick Grayson, but as Robin. And we're still going to do his origin through like flashbacks that come up throughout the movie, but you won't really see his parents get killed until close to the end of the movie.
Okay. I want to say none of us really had like an origin story for Batman. I think we're all just so sick of that personally.
Yeah. And I personally see it. I get that and I understand that, but if I'm building a universe from scratch, I'm gonna want to see the beginning and the end of all the characters. Okay. So I'm gonna all my character introductions will have origins in them. Okay. With the exception of Batman being he's starting off already as Batman, but we're gonna get flashbacks to his times with his parents, and then eventually the alleyway.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that to explain why you're doing all these origins.
And the villains for this movie will be Joker and Harley Quinn. Because again, I want Joker to continuously pop in throughout the cinematic universe.
Gotcha.
And I can see Joker using his laughing gas or to try and mess with Batman, and some of these things make Batman question why he's doing stuff. And that could go along with who Joker's killing throughout the film. And that's why we get flashbacks to when he was a kid with his parents, leading up to the gunshot.
Oh,
because the gunshot's gonna be towards the end of the film. The murder's gonna be the murder is gonna be at the end of the film, so that way it's kind of his reason for remembering why he chose to be Batman, why he became Batman.
Okay, so the flashbacks are him as a kid, and then it ends with his parents dying. It's not like flashbacks of him becoming Batman.
Yeah, no.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah. It's just gonna be lessons that he learned
from his parents, type of thing. I like that.
And like I said, Dick Grayson as Robin, and of course by this point he's like 16 or 17, because he's already adopted him for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what I'm going with. And then movie ends, another post-credit scene. We got the man in the shadows, who we can see a vague outline of, but still can't see his face. And Lex Luthor by a console looking at a security camera footage from inside Arkham Asylum, looking at Joker, and Luthor questions the mystery man, asking, "Are you sure this is the man? You sure you want to do this? Is this the man you want?" He's like, "He'll serve a purpose." And then in the post-credit scene,
Krais, don't tell me, or do you just a yes or no? Do you have an idea of who he's talking about? No. Okay.
None whatsoever.
Okay, I like.
I'm gonna let him cook.
Yeah.
All right. My third film in the cinematic universe is the Wonder Woman movie. I want to complete the Trinity of the DC universe, and I really don't have a whole lot. Yeah, no, the Trinity. The Trinity of the.
Oh, okay.
So the top three.
Sorry,
trilogy is the sequence.
Playing Rise of Tomb Raider has just made me hear Trinity like everywhere now.
That and me bringing up the Planet of the Apes trilogy.
Yeah.
But anyways,
go on.
With Wonder Woman, we're gonna do her origin. We're gonna show her leave Themyscira, but it's still gonna be modern times. And so her villains in this movie will be Dr. Poison and Cheetah. I don't have a great outline for this one because it was really hard for me because I really liked the first Wonder Woman movie we got, and I don't know how I could top that, so I don't have a great idea of how I would go with it. But in the story, both Dr. Poison and Cheetah are alive by the end of the movie. I didn't have an idea for a post-credit scene for this one, so we'll go on to the next one, The Flash, where we will get where we're gonna get the origin story again. We're gonna see, and the Flash I'm choosing is Barry Allen,
Of course.
and as we've seen Barry learn how to use his powers, the villains in this movie will be the Rogues, and we're going gadget based with them.
Okay.
So none of them actually have powers, and so it's gonna be
They're looking at my confused look right now.
yeah, it's good. It's gonna be
Okay.
All right. So the Rogues I was selecting are Captain Cold, who
Okay, those guys.
yeah, he's gonna have an ice blaster.
What?
Heat Wave, who essentially just has a flamethrower. Mirror Master, who's able to go through mirrors and other reflections.
Yeah.
Captain Boomerang. Golden Glider, which I wasn't really sure what her powers were, but I just remember she's related to Captain Cold.
She is the sister of Captain Cold, and she has a gun similar to Captain Cold in Heat Waves, but from what I remember, but she can like turn things gold. Like she basically has Midas touch.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I think. I'm curious now. I'm looking it up.
All right. And then the final one is Top, and I'm doing the female variant of Top.
Oh,
and,
Top?
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
Who essentially just gives people vertigo.
Oh, okay. I like that.
And I kind of wanted to go with this more tech-based because we saw a majority of these characters in the Rogues and the Flash TV series be metahumans. But I really wanted to go on that balance of superpowers and Barry kind of realizing that just because he has powers, he's not the greatest. Doesn't mean he's the greatest, because he's gonna be very shocked by how these normal people with like just technology are able to outsmart him and outmaneuver him.
I like that because all these superhero mediums are just like powers versus powers. It's not much of,
Mm-hmm.
I really like that, driving that point home that you don't have to have powers to do stuff.
Mm-hmm. And then, end of the day, Flash stops them. And post credit for this one is Cheetah and Lex Luthor breaking out Captain Cold and Captain Boomerang and recruiting them to this team that they're building.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to the Green Lantern movie.
Okay, sorry, real quick. I have written down those Justice League members I've had, and you have mentioned 5 of them in order, and it's the exact same order I have them written down right now.
Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern.
Yeah, that's what I have. And then I have Cyborg and Aquaman, but I imagine you're not doing those, but I have 5 in the row. Sorry.
Yeah.
That was in the back of my mind as you've been saying this. I just had to mention it. It might not even be in the...
Yeah, and then for Green Lantern, I don't have a full story, but it's going to be another origin movie. The Green Lantern I'm choosing is Jon Stewart.
Good one.
And then the main villain for it will be Sinestro.
Remind me what he...
He's a Yellow Lantern.
Yellow Lantern, okay, I thought so. There's so many names being thrown around.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I didn't really have a post-credit scene in mind for that one. For my next standalone film, I have The Atom.
Ooh!
Because I figured I was trying to pick a...
Oh, he's the guy who shrinks, right? Okay.
And I really don't have a preference if this is Ray Palmer or it's something Choi.
Another person.
Yeah, it's another guy. But either way, either the 2 Atoms I'd be fine with. It basically would just be showing him getting the suit and learning how to use it. I really don't have a full story line for this, but the main purpose was to establish a tech-based character. Mm-hmm. I kept going back between Atom and Cyborg, but I really didn't want to use Cyborg because I want to save him for another project. Mm. And then after the Atom, the post-credit scene will reveal all of the villains that have been brought together. Mm-hmm. And I'm assuming that Atom's villain from that movie, I didn't select one, he would be coming through the doors and around the table for a meeting with everyone that we've known has joined the team is sitting there. And then we see the Mystery Man revealed coming out of the shadows at the head of the table to be Vandal Savage.
You bastard!
I don't know who that is, but I was literally watching Krais' face to see Krais' reaction.
Also, real quick, the villain for the Atom movie should be Atom Smasher because it's funny.
Except Atom Smasher's not a villain.
Adam just thinks he's a villain because of the name. Yeah. And then it's conflict, and then at the end they hug it out.
Sorry. Funny joke.
Okay,
Move
sorry.
on. Move on.
Who is that guy?
Oh, do you want to?
You can go for it.
Okay, so Randall Savage.
Vandal
Savage. Whatever. I don't care.
That guy.
That guy. So that guy. So how much do you know about Hawkman and Hawkgirl?
Very little.
Okay.
I didn't know.
All right. Long story short, Vandal Savage is an immortal dude who's been around since prehistoric times. He somehow came across this power, which granted him immortality.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
And he's kind of a villain. That's basically where he is. He's been in some pretty bad historical events.
Oh,
okay. And sometimes he's been known to kind of work in the background and use
pulling the
others.
String.
Like I think there's one where he was actually the one that influenced Hitler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I figured if he was like influencing history in a bad way, he had something to do with the freaking Nazis.
But it's his way of like doing population control too.
Okay.
He sees himself as the hero, trying to preserve the Earth and make sure the strongest survive.
I really like that concept.
There's a really cool storyline where he's like the last man living, and Superman like shows up in the future with him, and he helps him like go back in time. It's really cool. Anyways, move on. Sorry.
All right.
I'm a nerd.
Finally, moving to the Justice League movie. This is when we get our team lineup of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Jon Stewart, Green Lantern, The Atom, and introducing this film, Martian Manhunter.
Yeah.
Can we go over Martian Manhunter's powers real quick? Because
he's a shapeshifter from Mars. His weakness is fire. And yeah, that's about it. He's a telepath too.
Yeah.
And
okay,
his biggest role is kind of like mother hen of the Justice League. Like he doesn't really go out and fight crime like the others unless it's like a big name fighter. He mostly just sits in the watchtower and kind of like direct heroes where they're needed.
Gotcha. He's the manager.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
But still very powerful.
Oh yeah. I know he's powerful. I just didn't know anything about him.
And in this movie, they will finally go up against Vandal Savage and the Injustice League of Lex Luthor, Joker, Dr. Poison, Cheetah, Captain Cold, Captain Boomerang, Sinestro, and Vandal Savage himself.
I'm surprised that Vandal Savage got a hold of Sinestro.
Probably offered him a way off Earth.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, I remember I wanted Sinestro on the team, but I just couldn't remember. I didn't come up with the post-credit scene.
No, that's fine.
But that's fine. And yeah, they'll go at each other, and then once the movie's over, another post-credit scene. We love those post-credit scenes.
Yes,
You very much do.
I do. And this will show the planet Apocalypse, and we will get a teaser with that servant of Darkseid who wears the hood and has like a scarred up face.
Yeah.
And he will say, "There's been a disturbance in this certain planet. This one may presume profitable to your reign, Lord Darkseid." And then we'll see, similar to the Thanos cutscene from the first Avengers.
Yeah, I was just
we're
thinking about that.
We're just gonna have him turn to the right and look, and with his sinister grin.
So is his skin purple or blue at this point?
It's gray actually. He has a blue suit of armor.
It's gray actually.
But yeah, and then finishing off phase 1 is the Green Arrow movie.
Ooh, yes.
Where we're gonna, and there will be a little teaser of this in the Justice League movie, just on the TVs. Like, billionaire or lost billionaire Oliver Queen has been found.
Yeah.
And that's just gonna be a little thing on a TV that
Yeah.
it's gonna be a nice little Easter egg.
Yeah.
And then with this movie, we're gonna show him and his time going down on the yacht, some of his time of his 5 years on the island, and then his survival there and his way back home, as well as him becoming Green Arrow and taking the fight, where he's gonna meet Black Canary, and then they're gonna start their romance. And the villain they're gonna go up against is Count Vertigo.
Ooh.
Who he's a terrorist essentially, and he has a piece of technology that he uses to cause vertigo to people.
Gotcha.
And sometimes it's done in different ways. Like sometimes he's a metahuman that can do it. Sometimes it's just a drug that he's able to use.
It just
depends on the depiction. And I was going with the technology route.
I love we've gotten to the point where after you name a new character, you look at me to see if I know it or not.
Yep. But yeah, and then post-credit scene would be...
If we do Pokemon, I'm gonna school Austin.
Oh yeah. Post-credit scene would be Batman inviting them to both Green Arrow and Black Canary to join the Justice League.
Nice.
All right, starting off phase 2.
That was just phase 1.
Yeah, I know. I'm really bad at explaining stuff.
No, you're really good. You fleshed everything out.
Yeah. It's all fleshed out. It's good.
Yeah.
Move on.
Going to phase 2, Superman 2.
Okay.
It's gonna kind of deal with the aftermath of fighting the Injustice League. The main villain's gonna be General Zod. Again, I don't have a huge storyline planned out for this one. Lex Luthor is gonna pop up again. Gonna be reformed.
Can I ask a question real quick about the first Justice League movie? Have they, like, the Doom Syndicate, have they been disbanded? Like, how did that end?
I don't know. They just beat him. They found a way to kill Vandal Savage.
Okay.
And
I just wanted to know.
I just got the rest of them arrested.
Yeah. Okay. So Vandal Savage is the only one that's gone. That was my biggest question.
Yes. Yeah. And then Lex Luthor, he made bail. He kind of did something. Lex Luthor did his thing where he's no longer guilty in the public eye.
Yeah.
That's
Although
fine.
Justice League's still going to be kind of skeptical, especially Superman.
Yeah.
Superboy will also be introduced in
Yeah.
this one. And yeah, that's what I got for this. Going to the Batman 2, Dick Grayson will become Nightwing in it.
Cool.
Tim Drake will be introduced. We're jumping over Jason Todd. I'm sorry, guys, I didn't have time to flesh it out. And then the main villain will be Mr. Freeze.
Okay. You
I
really
know
want
that
to see
one.
I like the what is it? Heart of Ice storyline. It's such a good storyline for Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
And I would like to see it done properly. And the movie is going to start with Batman defeating Victor Zsasz, who's just a psycho killer, and it's going to play on that the themes of evilness, or the reason for doing something bad, versus just doing it. So Victor Zsasz, he's a serial killer. He likes to kill people so he can add a mark to his body. And then Mr. Freeze, he's a villain because he wants to save his wife. And I feel like that'd just be a nice little balance between the two.
Yeah.
Again, I don't have a whole lot. Wonder Woman 2, the main villain's going to be Ares, the god of war.
Yeah.
And
That's a good
then
one.
and Wonder Girl is going to be introduced.
Ooh.
For the Flash 2, the main villain's going to be Gorilla Grodd, with Wally West, a.k.a. Kid Flash, being introduced in it. Which leads us to the next film, which is our next team-up movie, Titans. And the reason I'm not going Teen Titans is just because I know that in reality, the kid actors are going to age up, so they are not really going to be teenagers anymore.
Yeah.
So it's just better just call them Titans. Plus, when Robin in the cartoon series calls them anyways, he always goes, Titans go.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so this movie will introduce Starfire, Raven, Cyborg, and Beast Boy, as well as including Kid Flash, Tim Drake, Robin, Wonder Girl, and Nightwing being the ringleader for it all.
Gotcha.
And the main villain for that movie will be Deathstroke.
Ooh.
So basically season 1 of Teen Titans.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Like I said, I have inspiration from all these different forms.
No, that's
of
fine.
media.
That's fine.
And then the finish off phase 2, I have the Aquaman movie where we're going to do his origin again, and his villain's going to be Black Manta.
There we go.
Okay.
Phase 3, we're going to kick off with a hard one. We're going to start with the death of Superman.
Oh.
So Doomsday is going to come to Earth, and this is going to be similar to Captain America Civil War, where it's a Justice League film, but it's not, because it's more focused on Superman. And we're going to see a large portion of the Justice League together fighting, trying to stop Doomsday, and it's going to lead to Superman dying. And we're going to get that iconic shot of his cape being held over or just flying on a stick. Lois Lane holding his body, and even Luthor's over there sad. And we'll have a funeral and everything. Batman 3, I don't have a whole lot for it. The main ones I got is that I want the villains to be Scarecrow, Poison Ivy, and the Return of the Joker.
Okay.
Next movie I got in my lineup will be Constantine.
Yes!
What the? Grace threw something.
Yeah.
Remind me, I recognize the
John
name.
Constantine is basically a British exorcist, except he's not a saint.
Right.
He does magic, he chain smokes, he has a really cool trench coat. And yeah, he's kind of the Justice League's go-to for dark mystical magic stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keanu Reeves did an adaptation of
Yeah.
him, and I want to see him in the second one so badly.
I remember that. It was something I was like, what the heck is this? And then I saw it was a DC thing. I was like, that's a DC thing? And then I never ended up watching
But
it.
yeah, this will be the introduction of more magic besides what we got from Raven in Teen Titans. We're also going to introduce Zatanna in here. Who's another magic user.
Okay.
Who really has that persona of a stage magician.
Okay.
and I think that's like her day job / cover.
Yeah,
So-
she's an actual magician who
Who uses actual magic
Yeah.
to do her tricks.
Fun fact: all of her spells are in reverse. So like when she wants to make something levitate, she just says levitation backwards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then Raven will be coming back from Teen Titans.
You're making a standalone Raven movie?
No, it's still in Constantine.
Oh, okay.
Because the main villain will be Trigon.
Ooh, okay.
And yeah. After that, we're gonna get the post-credit scene, where it shows we're back on Apocalypse with Darkseid saying, "Prepare for the attack."
Just straight up.
Well,
we're gonna go kill them.
Yeah.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
essentially that.
Yeah.
Which brings us to Justice League 2.
I just realized Justice League 2 is until Phase 3.
Mm-hmm. I had thought about putting another Justice League in there, but I figured with the Titans movie being the team up movie, we can just get to the next one.
Yeah.
And then this is where we kind of get into that Infinity War and Endgame spot.
Yeah.
Where with Justice League 2, Darkseid comes to Earth and just starts obliterating everything, and he resurrects Superman, gives him the black suit, and when the heroes think that they're gonna be helpful, they realize Superman's not on their side, and Superman will kill a lot of different heroes, and at this point, they feel like they can stop them, and Flash feels like he can do it. He tries to do something, but fails to do so, and it ends with Darkseid conquering Earth, which leads us to our next movie, Flashpoint.
Oh my god!
With the guilt of not being able to do it, Barry wonders if he could have stopped it, so he goes back in time to try and fix it, and he creates a reality where his mother is still alive, and suddenly everything, the world's at an end again, but this time it's Aquaman and Wonder Woman at war with each other.
So is this Flashpoint?
It's basically Flashpoint. It's straight up Flashpoint. And Eobard Thawne will be the Reverse Flash, will be the main villain in it. And he'll be there just to mess with Barry until the very end. And we'll get the general Flashpoint storyline, but Thawne will let it slip that there is a way to beat Darkseid. As Barry continues as he's fixing the timeline up, he's going to find ways that they can stop Darkseid. Which brings us to Justice League 3, where Flash arrives at the point in time right before Darkseid showed up in Justice League 2. So they, using the constant stream of magic and science, they bring back Superman before Darkseid can. And they have a final battle where more people will die, where Batman will make the final sacrifice.
Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what I got for my cinematic universe.
Do you want to go first, Krais, or me?
You can go first.
All right.
If
I
you
think
want.
just because I know less, I think I should go first. But yeah, basically my first thing is you ended the Phase 3 basically how Avengers did.
I was heavily inspired by it. Like I said at the beginning.
I think you did it.
Avengers was very influential, and it's kind of like how their cinematic universe should have gone.
I liked how you organized it. I think you did better than what Marvel did, honestly, because it wasn't just time travel thrown in, where it's like, oh, we'll get these weapons and then continue what we have. It's let's actually go back in time and pick these things out that we should have. I really liked that. One thing I noticed is, at least for Phase 1 and 2, you had the exact same hero movies in the exact same order. So you had a Superman movie, a Batman movie, a Wonder Woman movie, and a Flash movie right off the bat in the first two phases. Was that on purpose?
Yes, because I do want the main trinity to get at least another movie, and if I had more time, I was going to definitely give... Actually, I did kind of give Superman and Batman a third movie.
Yeah.
I definitely wanted to add some more movies for Phase 3 because it was kind of like Batman 3, Constantine,
Yeah.
and then right to the final 3 films.
Yeah.
But I would have added stuff like Shazam, Blue Beetle to get some
Yeah.
more lighthearted stuff in there.
Yeah.
And I probably would have thrown those in after Constantine, just so that way there's some lightheartedness before it gets really dark for the final 3 films.
Yeah. That is pretty much all I had. You fleshed everything out really well. I think if you had more time, you would be able to add more stuff, and that's really all you need to do. Yeah. Well, that's all for me. What do you got, Krais?
I really liked it. I think you used characters that I wanted to use, but I forgot about, and 2 just didn't fit with my story.
And you also had like so many others.
Yeah, I like I said, I wanted to try to like incorporate as many as I could, but John Constantine. Oh, I love Morgan
Words.
John Constantine. I love him, but because I had Dr. Fate, I couldn't really use him. But I still it's still a great character to add into the story.
Also, you could have used him with Dr. Fate, just because Constantine and Dr. Fate don't really see eye to eye.
No,
because Dr. Fate's more about order and like destiny and stuff. John Constantine says, "Fuck destiny."
Yeah.
Destiny can go bugger off.
Yeah. But yeah, like maybe when we rework stuff later. I just it was a great good retelling of the story. I wish we had some more like standalone movies besides just Batman 1, Batman 2, and Batman 3.
Mm-hmm.
But like, oh, here is the I don't know. What's a good one? Like here's the Plastic Man movie or something.
Yeah, like there's the general stuff. Like most of the movies are just standalone stuff, but there will be references to past movies or like some characters that'll pop up.
Didn't you say you'll have a mutant Martian Man in it?
Martian Manhunter?
That's it. Yeah, that thing. That guy.
Yeah, I have him. He's introduced in the Justice League movies.
Yeah, it's just I think you mentioned him then. I don't think I heard his name at all after that. So he's just
he'd just be one that show up in the Justice League movies because he doesn't really do a whole lot outside of that.
Okay.
Like I said earlier, he's kind of the mother hen.
Gotcha. Okay.
And basically that's the same thing kind of what happens with Green Arrow and Black Canary. They'll show up in like some of the side projects. They might show up in a Batman movie.
Yeah.
And they'll show up with the rest of Justice League.
Okay.
But I liked it. Really good stuff. Also, I got really worried when you were using Flashpoint at the end there because I didn't know where you were going with that for a minute, but it was really that was a really nice way to end it, making Flashpoint kind of a part of a trilogy for the ending, but not part of the trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
It just I thought that was really creative. It was a really good idea to use Flashpoint. I liked it. I think you stuck the landing.
And that's where I kind of got that influence from Zack Snyder's Justice League movies because he had like Flash show up to Batman and those weird cool stuff. And I'm like, what if I use Flashpoint to kind of be the way they come back? Because there's leaked scripts about what his plans for Justice League 2 and 3 were, where most of the Justice League would die, and like they would send Barry back in time to try and prevent it.
Yeah.
And so what I'm like is, what if we did this, but we kind of incorporate Flashpoint into it too? Just put 2 great stories together.
Yeah, that's really well written, and I commend you for that.
Thank you. All right, anything else?
Yeah, I think that's it. Besides ending this thing, wrapping this thing up, spinning that wheel, and seeing what's next for us.
Yeah, episode 4.
Yeah, this was a fun one, though.
Oh my god, I had so much fun with this.
All right, let's see what our pitch for the next episode will be.
All right, excited.
I'm nervous.
Something good, please.
What video game deserves a remake?
Ooh. Okay, so this is a real detour from what we've been
question: how many video games, or is it just one video game?
If it's part of like a trilogy or like a streamlined series that hasn't been around in a while, yes.
Okay.
I would prefer it to just be
one video game. Okay, that's fine. I'm fine with that.
For a remake, are we just listing like what are we remaking entirely? Because sometimes that's not defined so well. Is that up for interpretation? Because sometimes it's literally just better graphics and fleshing out the mechanics more.
Yeah, it's up to you.
Okay, cool.
Like you can just do a simple one like that. You can do all that and then add some new stuff.
Okay.
Fix some story issues.
You can do what Crash Bandicoot did recently, and when they redesigned the original trilogy, they came out with a new fourth game that went in a completely different direction than the original games did.
Gotcha. Okay, so basically for a remake, whatever the heck we want to do with it.
Yep.
Completely remake
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
Completely.
It just has to come from an established title that beforehand.
And it's any video game.
Yep.
Any
Take your
game.
pick.
So, oof. There's a lot of forgotten video games out there.
I have two in mind, but I think I want to save one of them for a different one.
The only one that I would want is already getting remade, so...
Which one is
one's getting
that?
remade?
Since-
Epic Mickey.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm
I
excited.
gotta think because the first one that came to mind was Pokemon games, but they're constantly doing that. So
Oh, I think I have an idea for you.
for me,
No.
okay,
Grace.
okay,
I have an idea because I think I would also like to play it.
gotcha.
I
All
have
right.
a few ideas. We'll
All
see.
right. All right, this is gonna be. We're already trying to think of things. Here we go.
But thank you guys so much for listening. Please let us know what you thought in the comments below.
Comments
And
below.
we're one of the things.
The poll, who had the best thing with the poll,
Yes.
and what do you think? What's your ideas?
Yes. Who'd you agree with? Who you didn't agree with? We would love to know. We'll see you guys later.
Let us know what kind of hero you want to see have a movie in the DC universe.
Yes.
Ooh, yeah. Are there any niche heroes or not super well known heroes that Austin Grace somehow didn't mention? I'm sure there is, but
There's a bunch.
oh, I know.
Like
I did the more streamlined ones.
I didn't even talk about some of my favorite forgotten heroes.
I think the most obscure one that we got was like Doom Patrol, and even then they got a TV series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Good.
Thank you all for listening. Hope to see you in the next one. I'm Batman.
Thanks for listening to the Three Not So Wise Men. Krais Baker, Jack Green, and Austin Shalis. Huge shout out to Louis Trotter for the awesome theme music. Have a good one, y'all.